So my name is Kehinde Popoola. I'm 37. I was diagnosed with a myxoid liposarcoma on my hip at the age of 34.
Okay. All right. Can everyone hear her? A bit louder.
I can talk loud.
I know you can talk louder. I'm sitting here going, please don't try it with the cute voice.
I'm a soft babe, but I can talk loud.
Okay, so Kehinde, you were obviously diagnosed with a bit more of a rarer cancer.
Yeah.
I guess one of the first questions I would say to you is, I think in a world where, especially, sort of 80% of our membership, is women who have been diagnosed with breast cancer. With being diagnosed with a different cancer, what is that experience like, seeing that so much focus is put on breast, and particularly not your own, and maybe also not finding many people that have had the same cancer as you?
The first thing I'll probably say is thank you for welcoming all cancers in a space where you I don't have any history of like breast cancer. I don't have any history of cancer at all. Just navigating the space generally, because quick background on my diagnosis, I found a lump on my hip just randomly, 2021, and I was worried at first, and then when I went to get it checked, they were like, oh no, it's fine, we're just going to send you to the Royal Marsden, and I went to the one in Sutton, and I spent the whole year sort of not worrying about it. And they kept saying things like sarcoma, and I was like, but sarcoma's cancer. And they said, we're just going to do like routine checks and stuff. At the time, the support wasn't there as much. I was going through a long-term breakup. My dad passed away in 2019.
Yeah.
He took his own life. Mental health was a big struggle. Then 9 months after, my mum passed away. So going from the transition of not having sort of anyone around me, and then going through quite a turbulent breakup, there was a lot to be worried about. And I also had, at the time, she was 5 years old, my daughter. So navigating that space and not really understanding what was going on at the time, this was pre-diagnosis, was a struggle anyway, because I didn't have anyone to turn to at that time. I had both my brothers, and I had my friends, and that was amazing. And the first time I actually worried was the day before I got officially diagnosed. So I was diagnosed in February 2022. When they told me what it was, I was just kind of like, well, the only question I've got is, have I got cancer? When they said yes, I felt like my world just completely blew apart, because at that point I thought, how could my life get any worse than it already was? And not understanding the cancer, not being given sort of like a treatment plan, then looking into the things that were going to happen, things that might change. I noticed that there wasn't anyone like me anywhere. They were saying things like, your skin is going to change, your skin is going to turn red. Very dark. I can't turn red. I don't even bruise. So it was weird to understand how the changes would sort of impact me. And cancer is a very isolating experience anyway. And then I will always say this, I got a care package from Black Women Rising. It had some sweets in there, it had a magazine, and it just had the important information that I needed. And at that point, I was literally like, God, get me through this. And if you get me through this, I will be grateful, but I want to give back to you guys. Because in a moment where I felt so alone and so isolated and didn't know who to turn to, there you were. So thank you. Because it wasn't just about breast cancer, it was about cancer. And in a moment where I felt already very, very alone, I then had a friend, and that friend was Black Women Rising.
Oh, so lovely. And so many things you've gone through. You've been through so much trauma. And I can't even begin to know how you navigated that. But you've also completely done a transformation in yourself. Because we always talk about this, right? And we always talk about this journey of cancer. Leanne said it as well, like focusing on yourself afterwards. But it's so hard to do. Yeah. It's so hard. People go through their diagnosis and they go, actually, I'm going to focus on me now, and it's going to be all about me. And then they go, and then they revert back to old ways. It's really, really hard. I think as black women as well, like culturally, we look after everybody and we're the heads of the household majority of the time, holding everything down, and it's very difficult. It's so deeply ingrained. But actually, you're an example of someone who did that, and you were like, no, it's my time. Can we just talk about your process of what you started to do after your cancer journey in terms of your health and your wellness?
So when I actually found my lump, I was the fittest I'd been.
All of us.
And it just feels textbook. I was listening to Leanne talk earlier, and I thought, yeah, same.
We all are.
Same.
Yeah.
I was running 5K a day. I was not seasoning my chicken. I was eating broccoli. There was so much going on, and I thought, oh my God, why me? And I've been on a bit of a journey. So I was like much bigger, then I got much smaller, sort of with grief and stuff like that. And when I was bigger, I was just like, I want to be skinny. I want to be like runway ready and stuff. And then when I was like super skinny, I was just like, I don't even know if I'm happy. I just eat the damn cake, you know? Yeah. And then when I got sick, the only thing I wanted to be was healthy, and I didn't care what size that was attached to. And I vowed that when I was better, I was going to focus on being literally the strongest version of myself, like physically. I tried to gym when I was having treatment. And that took its toll on me. I ended up in hospital for something completely separate. So my ovary twisted, and I had a cyst on my ovary and had to have surgery just before I had the tumour removed. So that was like double whammy. But then again, the focus was get stronger. So I got myself back in the gym very slowly. I did try to run 10K like 3 weeks out of surgery, which was probably a bad idea. No, it was a bad idea. But what I had to recognize was that I wasn't the same person anymore. I couldn't do the things that I could do pre-cancer. And I had to give myself a lot of grace. And I had to give myself time. And they say time is a healer, and it genuinely is. And from then, I've been back in the gym. I'm strong as hell.
You are the strongest you've ever been. Yeah.
I made it, like, I put some focuses in my year. One thing I wanted to do was to learn how to do a pull-up.
Yeah. You've done that?
I'm on 6.
Yeah.
But I've also become really, really passionate about like running and really championing like the benefits of fitness, because I found the lump because I'd lost weight. It was on my hip and my hand just randomly brushed it. And I think having lost the weight, it was a moment where I was kind of like, this could have been so much worse, because it was a low-grade cancer when I was diagnosed. It could have been worse. So the type I had, I think I mentioned it, myxoid liposarcoma. It was just hardened fatty cells that had become cancerous over time, and I didn't even know that was a thing. So yeah, just really focused on like lifting a lot of weights, running a lot. I am now the head of my run club, which is just it's been an incredible journey. And yeah, I'm apparently doing London Marathon in a few months.
You're doing it. So you are running the London Marathon alongside Leanne.
I am.
For Black Women Rising.
Yeah.
So we look forward to watching your journey. One thing that you're so passionate about, and we see it on your Instagram and you're fantastic at it, is talking about Black women and body image.
Yeah.
Which is difficult, I think, for women of colour anyway.
Yeah.
When the world doesn't make you feel beautiful.
Yeah.
And, you know, our blackness is often erased, you know, as not being beautiful. But let alone a cancer diagnosis on top, let alone being in the fitness industry as well. How has that affected your life? And also, what advice would you give to anybody that's wanting to embark on that journey? Because I think all of us after cancer have wanted to embark on a journey of more wellness. And you're often been an example to so many of our members of wanting to get involved with the things that you do, but just can't because of that confidence barrier with its added extra layers of colour involved in that. What advice would you give? But also, what experiences have you gone through with that?
You have to forget the fear and do it anyway. it's not about anyone
That's
else.
what Claudine was saying.
This is literally your journey. I've been in the fitness space since I was 18, and I'll be 38 next year. It's a very difficult space to navigate as a woman. It's a very difficult space to navigate as a 37-year-old woman. It's a difficult space to navigate as a 37-year-old woman with a child. It's also another layer to be a 37-year-old woman with a child that is black. There are so many layers, and you have to think about who you're doing it for. You can't do it for the masses. You have to do it for you. And you have to be authentic in the things that you're doing. And in the authenticity people will see, and your tribe will come. Being in a space like in the Run Club, I'm probably one of the older members. And people say, you know, you don't look your age, or you look good for your age. And can I just caveat? I do not look good for my age. I look good, period. Okay? And the reason why I say that is because it often minimizes your achievements and sort of your intention around sort of pouring into yourself. I'm very, very intentional. Now, one of the things I've like made a priority for me is me above everyone else. Me even before my daughter, because in order for me to be anything to her, she's 9 now. In order for me to be anything to her, I have to be the best version of myself. And a lot of what that looks like is being intentional with like prioritizing going to the gym. It does come at a cost. I wake up at 4:00 in the morning to go to the gym. But it's the only time, I've realised it's the only time I have for me, because as soon as she's awake, the day becomes about her. When she's at school, the school could call me and say, hey, this has happened, she might need to come home. I've got a day job that is very demanding. I also do a lot of like content creation and stuff, and I've realised that as the day goes along, the day belongs to everyone else, and I have to be there for everyone else. And if something happens, change of plan, childcare arrangement falls through, guess what? I can't go to the gym. Guess what? I can't run. But then I end up feeling crap because I need it for me. It becomes a lot more, when you become embedded in this lifestyle, it becomes about so much more than your physical. Physically, I look great, feel great, but inside and mentally it is literally, inside, I couldn't be more proud of who I am and where I am. Someone said that I've known you for 7 years the other day. I've known you for 7 years and I never realized you had dimples. But you know why that is? Because I didn't smile. I did not smile. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is insane. And as I was even walking here this morning, I thought to myself, for someone who's had this level of trauma, why are you smiling so much? But it's because I'm still here. When it's my time to go, I think Claudine mentioned it earlier, we're all going to go. It doesn't matter if it's cancer that takes you. We're all going to go. And life is just going to go on. So why not make the most of every single day while you are here? I want to know that if my time was tomorrow, God forbid it's not going to be tomorrow, but if my time was tomorrow, I would want to know that today was the best day I'd had. Before I went, it was the best day I had. And we have to go through life, because we don't know when we're going to go, do we? You want to make sure that the day you do go, that the day before was the best day that you ever had, that the people that love you know that they love you and that you love them. When my dad passed away, it was very difficult, but I knew that he knew that I loved him. I made sure he was aware of that. And even with the last conversation I had with my mum, I remember coming off the phone to her saying I was going to I'll call you back, and I didn't call her back. But before I came off the phone, I said, I love you, Mum. And she said, I love you too. So that being the last conversation, that was okay with me. In terms of advice that I would give people who want to get into that space, just be kind to yourself. You have to give yourself grace. You have to give yourself grace, because even as a black woman in particular, the world does not give us grace at all. We are expected to push through. We are expected to persevere. We are supposed to tolerate a lot of things. But in a world where everyone is unkind to you, be kinder to yourself. Your internal voice is going to be the loudest one you ever hear. And if that one is talking how the world is talking to you, you're not going to get anywhere. So be kind. Focus on the things that really, really pour into you, really, really replenish your soul, you know, and just don't focus on what you could do pre-cancer. Focus on where you are right now,
you can do now
and build it.
Kehinde,